this is John Cressman with monkeyuncle.com, and this is our vertical shooter GameSalad tutorial. This is episode 6, so if you have not done the first 5 episodes, I recommend going back and checking those out. That'll get you caught up to where we are right now. If you just want to hop into this one, you can download the project file from monkeyuncle.com. So in our last episode, we added spawning enemies. We now have 2 enemies, enemy 1 and enemy 2. Right now they both do the same thing. I'll show you what that is. When we start the game, they start coming down the screen at us. That's it. We can blast them with our lasers, but pretty much that's all they do. So we're going to add a little bit more excitement. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to do enemy 2. Now we made him go a little bit faster, but we're going to make him actually fire at us. So let's make him go slightly slower. So we're going to make him go 75. Now let's go home. Now I've already saved this as vertical shooter 06. I'll just go ahead and save as I make my changes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a enemy laser. And the easiest way to do that is we're going to duplicate. I'm not a big person of reinventing the wheel, so I'm going to show you the shortcuts as I use them. We've already created a player laser, so let's duplicate that. We're going to call this enemy laser. So now we have an enemy laser. Now right now it's the same color, it's green. So we're going to come over here to Space Shooter. We're going to go to the lasers, and we're going to replace it with Laser Red 01. So now we have a red laser, but the red laser is pointing up. That's the way the graphic came. It happened to work out well when we were doing it for the player because the player is shooting up, but we want this to face down. So what we're going to come in here is do graphics, and you're going to see an option to flip horizontally and another one to flip vertically. We're going to flip it vertically. That means it'll flip from top to bottom. So now it'll be facing the correct way. Now there's a couple things. Remember, this was meant as a player laser, and we're going to edit it. So the player laser traveled from the bottom of the screen toward the top of the screen. And that means the coordinates got, or the Y coordinate got greater. Okay? So when we set the motion linear velocity Y, we set it to self speed, which is 600. Let's just go ahead and change that to 500. We're going to make it slightly slower so it's easier to dodge. But if we leave it this way, the lasers are going to get fired and they're going to go up the screen. So we want to go down the screen. So instead of going self speed, we want to set linear velocity Y to negative self speed. That means it's going to go down the screen, which is what we want. Now we did a little bit of housekeeping with our laser. When it got off the screen, when it went past the top of the screen, we destroyed the actor. Now we want to do the same thing with the enemy laser, but we're not testing for the top of the screen, we're testing for the bottom of the screen. So we want to check to see if self position Y, we'll just leave that actually, self position Y is less than. Now we don't need the display height because the bottom of the screen is 0. But we don't really have to put 0. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to let it go completely off the screen. So when the size is when the Y is equal to the size, we're going to actually put negative, so it's below the screen. When it's completely below the screen, we're going to destroy the actor. So when self position Y is less than negative height, okay, which in this case is 54. So when it's equal to negative 54, we're going to destroy it. Now, right now we have an event that says if it overlaps with enemies, it destroys itself. Well, we don't want that because this is an enemy laser, so we're going to change that. We don't want tag, so we're just going to change it to actor type player, because there's only one player. So now when it collides with the player, it's going to destroy itself. All right, so let's go ahead and save this. So now we have a laser, but we need to fire it. So let's come in here. This is enemy 2. We're going to create a couple attributes first. Now if you just did episode 5, you know that we create a spawner and it spawns the enemies. In essence, what we're going to do is create a spawner for laser beams. In this case, enemy 2 will spawn laser beams. So we need a fire time and a fire interval, much like the spawn time and spawn interval. Now we didn't want the spawning to take place right away, but we don't care if it fires right away. That's fine. So we're just going to leave that. We're going to leave fire time at 0. The spawn interval, let's say we make it fire every second. Okay. If it gets too much, you can always change it. But we're going to make it fire every second. So we need a rule, and the rule says if attribute enemy 2 or self fire time is less than enemy 2 self time. So when it's time, fire phasers on full. What we're going to do is, when it's time, we're going to spawn an actor, just like we did with the spawn enemies. So you're going to drag that behavior over. You're going to spawn an enemy laser. We're going to do relative to the scene. And for X and Y, now see, the way this design is, you kind of have this empty area, so we can actually just do enemy position X for the horizontal position and enemy 2 position Y. So basically it'll spawn in back of actor, so it'll look like the laser beam's coming from inside and going out. So now we spawn the laser beam, but just like the spawner, we have to reset the time. So now we're going to set enemy 2 fire time to self time plus the fire interval, which is 1 second. All right, so let's file, save. Now remember, we haven't set up any rules on the player yet, so for now, oh, there we go. See, now they're firing pretty well, and right now it doesn't do anything with the player. Now as soon as I hit a enemy ship, I died, but right now we don't do anything when we hit the laser. So let's go into player, and now here we have a collide rule for when we hit an enemy. Let's duplicate this rule. Okay, that's Alt or Option and drag, and we're just going to say when we overlap collide with actor of type enemy laser, we're going to end. So let's go ahead and file, save, and we're going to test it. Oh, and we just got destroyed. And there you have it. We now have 2 ships that spawn and 1 that will fire. Now I don't know if you noticed, but that firing was pretty fast. So we're going to go ahead and change that interval to 2. So I'm going to go ahead and start that. Destroy this ship. I must have destroyed it before it even got down. That's a little better. You can actually swoop in and destroy it. So there you have it. That's the end of episode 6. And our next episode, we'll be adding scores and lives. You don't want just one life, you want more than one life. So we're going to add scores and lives. And hope to see you on our next episode. Remember, this is John Cressman at monkeyuncle.com, and the files and links to this tutorial will be there.